Hello, welcome back to Me Talking, of course. And today I wanted to touch upon one of my favorite pieces of media of all time, of anything. Not even media, just of anything of all time, Haikyuu. Haikyuu and oh my god, I could talk about, like, people who know me know I could talk about Haikyuu endlessly. Endlessly for hours. There is never a dull moment when it comes to talking about Haikyuu. I love Haikyuu. Not only do I love volleyball, I do love volleyball. I play volleyball. I've been playing for many years, and I played prior to Haikyuu. But Haikyuu, how to describe Haikyuu? First and foremost, Haikyuu came to me during the pandemic, as it did for a lot of people, I think, because we were all trapped inside. And at that point, I had gone through a period where I hadn't really played volleyball because I had dislocated my knee. So I had done that, then recovered, and then like my school didn't have a team anymore, and it was not. But I found Haikyuu. I remember very vividly. My friend had already watched it. She had recommended it to me, but I had never started it because I was like, yeah, I'll watch it eventually. But I remember it was the day Haikyuu ended. I believe it was July 20th, 2020. It was the 20th of either July or June. I think it was July because it was Inoikawa's birthday. And people were posting this beautiful, amazing show-stopping like tributes to Haikyuu. And my timeline was flooded with it. Even though I didn't follow Haikyuu at the time, I remember seeing the devotion people were putting into those posts. Like, even if it was just like a piece of art, you could feel how much it gives me chills thinking about it. Like, people who would write something to Haikyuu or would like draw something for it. It was so palpable how much they were gonna miss that story and how much it had taught them. And I am a sucker for a good story. So I said, oh no, we're starting this right now. Like, let's go. I remember I told my friend on Snapchat, like, I don't know Haikyuu, I don't follow Haikyuu, but seeing how all these people are talking so highly of it is, it's amazing. Like, it really stopped me in my tracks, and I mean that like not in no way sarcastically. Like, I'm being like serious. Like, people were writing odes to this piece of media. It's talking about how it had changed their lives, changed their perspective, made them better. And I was like, you know what? This seems to be the general consensus. I need to get on this immediately. And I did. July 27th, I started Haikyuu. And when it opens with Hinata saying, there's a tall wall that looms in front of me. I want to see what's on the other side. I was stopped in my tracks, y'all. Like, when you get that feeling that, like, you just know, like your heart stutters up like a second. That's what it was. I don't know if it's dramatic to say that. I don't care. It is what happened. Also, June 10th, I just realized when I'm recording this, it's Iwaisumi's birthday. Happy birthday, King. I love you. He's from Haikyuu. But there's just so much symbolism etched into every page of Haikyuu, every scene. And I think it's also like worth talking about. We will when we get to the ranking of every match in Haikyuu so far. I think it includes all of them. It must. But anyway, if it doesn't, I'll still talk at length about a lot of them, and others that I don't really remember that much. Like, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But the way it's adapted, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's show-stopping. For that, the sensei, if you're out there and you somehow managed to come across this video, I owe you my life, and I'm not even kidding. Like, it's so serious for me. It is serious for me. It's such a poetic tale, like, about life, about victory, about defeat, about loss, about luck, about destiny, about longing, about failure, about overcoming. It's a tale about life. It truly is. And it has so many wonderful characters who each embody a different aspect of it, and it's done so beautifully. I could rave about Haikyuu. Like, I think to me it's one of like modern wonders of the world, like, of media. Really, people cannot sing its praises enough. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. Even if you don't like volleyball, there's something in there for you. I can assure it. And I will never get tired of recommending it to anybody. I know it might turn a lot of people off because it's like, oh, sports anime. First of all, sports anime, people tend to find more boring than like shonen or whatever. that person doesn't happen to me. I love sports anime. Or B, it's anime period, and some people are like, I don't know. Like, I feel like people have a very specific perception of what anime is, and it's not this. So, but if you're one of those doubters who somehow clicked in this video, please, please, please do yourself a favor and go watch Haikyuu. Like, I mean that sincerely. It's amazing, and I cannot express enough how truly it brothers your perspective. I don't know what kind of divine influence Furudate Sensei was under when he put pen to paper, but oh my god, I don't think we'll ever see anything like it again. It's incredible. Like, incredible. It's amazing. So anyway, I thought we can rank the matches in Haikyuu today. My second video, so I'm starting to think like what else I could do just instead of just me sitting here like ranting about Haikyuu, and this is diversifying, I guess. We can have an interesting talk about the matches we see. For example, we're starting strong. Karasuno versus Seijo. I don't know if it's, let me see, is this the first one, or I think there's, no, it must be the second one where they win, where Karasuno wins, because I can see there's another one where Seijo wins. Yeah. I'm gonna try to be conservative and put media pick tier, reserve it for my favorite match ever. Just one. I'm gonna try. Show-stopping amazing, what can I say? I think Sage is one of the best teams in Haikyuu. I know I'm biased because indeed my pookiest pook of all time is Oikawa. And no one can take that away from me. Like, I'm just an Oikawa truther. You know, like, if Oikawa has 1,000 fans, I'm one of them. If Oikawa has no fans, I'm dead. Like, he's my pookie. So, there's that. There's that. I love his game sense. I love how much of a rival he is to Kageyama. I love that Seiju's such a strong, connected team. Like, I feel like that's what the perfect team, I guess, should look like. Like, they all care about each other so much and they trust each other. It's so good. I'm sorry. Like, Seijo is just a wonderful team, a wonderful lineup. They're all so close. And what can I say? I love the Seijo third years. Like, you know, Iwa, Izumi, Oikawa, Matsukawa, and oh my gosh, Hanamaki. I love them. I know we don't get much of them on screen aside from Iwa, Izumi, and Oikawa, but I don't care. You know, sometimes fandom keeps you going. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyway, oof. Okay, I'm gonna try to go out of order. I'm gonna see the ones that I don't like. Porque, you know why? Because I see that Shira Torizawa versus Karasuno is right there, and I know exactly where I'm gonna put that. Yeah, media peak there. Season 3 of Haikyuu rewrote the brain chemistry of my brain chemistry. And when I tell you I watched this in 2020, like at the end of 2020, because I remember it was like around Christmas time. When I watched this for the first time and Suki gets that block on Oshijima, yeah, I was a changed woman by the end of it. I cannot express to you the amount, like I get chills thinking about it. The score they put behind it, Tsukishima's speech as it's happening, how the whole like theme of it is that a murder of crows can defeat an eagle if they band together. Oh, and Oikawa telling, like, foreshadowing this to Shijima, like, hey, like, you can underestimate them all they want. Like, you guys are the eagles. But when they band together, a flock of crows can come together and eat you alive. And they did! And it's so good! Like, oh my god, I get chills thinking about it. It's so good. Such an intense game. Such a fleshed out one, too. I'm so glad it got its own season. We're not going to talk about that because I feel like that's what should happen with Nekoma, but we can get to that later. Amazing. Show-stopping. Never been done before. And that is the pinnacle of media. Like, that was in his bag when he wrote this one. The parallel between, like, Ushijima versus just, like, Kageyama Hinata, and then meeting him outside literally at the beginning and being like, hey, you're not winning. And if you are, it's not gonna be easy. And he's like, oh, like, he doesn't think much of it, but then, like, Hinata's like, I'm Hinata Shoyo from the concrete. I'm gonna beat you and go to nationals. I'm sorry. Like, tell me one person who has more, like, aura than Hinata Shoyo. You can't. Like, that's my man. Oh my god, it's great. I could talk about this game also for hours, hours. It's so brilliantly executed. It's so tense. Like one set goes to Shiratorizawa, then to Karasuno, Shiratorizawa, Karasuno. It's too good. It's too good. And the way the crowd like fought, like was overwhelmed, like they have to fight. But oh my gosh, I love this game. I think it's one of the most amazing things Furate has written. And that's saying something because Furate has never missed a single time. Anyway, I love this game. I think it's one of the highlights of Haikyuu. It exemplifies everything it is, and it does it with different characters as well. Like I don't know if you can tell, but I know this is maybe unpopular, but I love Suki. I love Suki as a character. I think he's very realistic. I think there's something to be found in him, because Suki starts with the ideology that it's just a club. Like anything he does in it, like it's I guess it's good. Like he's out there trying whatever, but anything he can do for this team is just 1 point. It's just a club. It's not that important. The thing is, for that makes a point of saying that it is. Like, no, but like, just because you might not be at the top or you may never be at the top, like the best of the best, doesn't mean it can't matter to you. And that's why Suki struggles with, I feel like. He sees Kageyama and Hinata and he says, like, those are monsters. Like, I am not on the same level as they are. It's just a club. But then when he plays against Ushijima and he like comes to this terms that it matters to him, that point, that 1 point he can do does matter in the score, and he like celebrates triumphantly in front of his brother. Like, wow, that's cinema. That's cinema, y'all. Like, it is just a point, sure. But it's a point he scored. It's a point that matters to him. And that matters to his team. And yes, he may not always be at the top. He may never be at the top. But he was there. And it mattered to him, and that's why it matters at all, because it mattered to him. And it gags me every time, y'all. Like, Furate has a way of emphasizing multiple times throughout the story that nobody knows what matters to you like you do. Like, nobody will ever know what something means to you like you do. Like, no matter how you explain it, no matter how you try to hide it, or nobody will ever know. Only you do. And in this moment, Suki's not afraid to say, hey, this matters to me. This matters to me. And it's a point that I made. It's a hard point. And it was complicated. I had to work really hard for it. It was a whole thing, like a back and forth of me timing it. Ushijima getting tired, us wearing him down. But I got that block. And it mattered to me. And it's amazing. I can't. I love Shiratori so much. Anyway, moving on. Ui. Is this... I think this is... Hold on, let me see. Yeah, this for me must be from the Land versus Air OVA. I think this is Fukurodani versus Nekoma. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm a sucker for Bokudo. Like, they're so iconic. Amazing. Never been done before. I love their duo. I love the third gym parallels. Haikyuu season 2 is very healing. I think this is not from season 2, by the way. Just the third gym crew is second gym or third gym. I don't remember. But like it's Akashi, Bokuto, Kuro, and Suki, where they teach Suki how to block. Well, Kuro teach. We'll go back to that. I hold that very dearly. I think that's like the beauty of volleyball. Because all these schools are rivals, right? Technically, at the end of the day. But like when they were in the summer camp, they were really like, hey, we can help you. Like, yeah, if you do this and you'll be faster. And like they were all helping each other. It's really beautiful. I mean, and that's the whole thesis of Haikyuu in general. That's how for that opens the show. In the story, he just says, like, volleyball is to connect. And I mean, yes. The whole point of volleyball is you're all in like a little square with a net dividing both sides, and you get 3 touches going back and forth, where the only point is to connect. And something like that. I'm paraphrasing, and there's different translations of it, but like it's something like that, and I love it. I love it so much because, yes, to connect with the ball, to connect with the team, yeah. We'll get into it as we get to the time skip, because that comes back around. But like one thing about for that is he will introduce a theme and bring it back around. So anyway, yeah. Fukurodani versus Nekoma, show stopping. I love them interacting. I love. Nekoma has never been my favorite team. Not for any particular reason, just because I'm like, yeah, whatever. But they're really, really, really cool to watch. They're like such an unstoppable force. It's great. We'll get into that. Again, the Battle of the Garbage Dump recently, the movie just came out. and it's included in here, so we'll get into that. Ooh, Nekoma versus Noevi. It's a very short match again from the OVA Land versus Air, but I really like their dynamic. It's really like you're really rooting for Nekoma the entire time, right? Obviously, well, maybe not. Maybe there's some Noevi stands out there. I don't know. But I love Kudos and Daisho's like dynamic, like bickering and kind of like the shady tactics Noevi kind of have, like buttering up the ref and be like, oh, it wasn't out, like covering the ball so you can't tell if it was in or out. Oh, for that, it really explores all the different ways there is to win, and I think that's also very interesting because I mean, we can also get into that when we talk about Hoshuimi, which I'm sure we will, even though Come On With I hasn't been animated yet. I've read it already, so I have to reread it because I've only read it once because it's just overwhelming. But yeah, Hushuimi says like we're not limited to only one way of being great, and I love that thesis statement because that's true, and I think for that the not only exemplifies it with different characters but also with different games. Like there's different styles of playing. Karasuno is known for being like an attack center team. Like they will go for it. They fly. They're like attack together. They're like synchronized attack, whatever. Nekoma, on the other hand, is known for being like a defensive team. They will get that ball. Like like land versus air. So it's like, or like, yeah, Shiratorizawa, they were known for having this like power, like just like amazing power. There's different ways to win, and none of them are more correct than the other. It's just the way you like make your strength be known, and that's it. Also, like for example, like Dateko, they're all like very very tall. They're really good blockers. Like yeah, it's fun. I like that for that they explored all those little, different dynamics, and that they tie into the theme. It all does. It's good for that. I thought of everything. I love him. Anyway, these guys, I don't remember their name. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna say meh because it's the first. I know that it's the first match Karasuno has at nationals, but we barely get to see much of it. We get to see the guy who serves really high, and then like it gets lost in the lights. And again, I feel like that kind of relates back to yeah. There's different ways to win. Like this guy was only put in as a pinch server, but he did what he had to. He ate that down. Like yeah, respect. But I don't. It's not the most memorable match ever, so it's okay. For Kordani versus who are they playing against? I don't. Oh, no, I don't remember who they were playing against, but I remember the match, where like Hinata goes to see Bokuto and it's like, hey, you better get in there. Yeah, I love Fukudani. I think they're a very interesting team. I wish we would have gotten more of them, and I fear that we won't now that we're getting another movie instead of another season. Because I fear they're gonna cut down their like screen time, which is a shame because I love Okudani. I think their mindset is very interesting. I think their dynamic is very interesting. Like Bokuto being this like amazing star, but like someone who gets very like concentrated in his mistakes and gets bogged down, but like Akashi who knows how to handle it. It's like synergy, you know what I'm talking about? Like no team is perfect, but they have their like they work around it. I one thing I like to see about Haikyuu is that they really explore like friendship in that sense. Like we see it on both sides. Like when Kageyama and Oikawa were on the same team, they were pit against each other by their own coach. Like it's very subtle, but like he didn't handle that all that well. Like he's like, oh, you're not doing great. Yeah, get out. You're being replaced. Like that fostered a lot of animosity in Oikawa, at least for Kageyama. I mean, and I support Oikawa's rights, but most importantly, I support his wrongs. Okay, like don't come at me about it. I don't care, and I get it. Like people it gets dicey. People are like he shouldn't have raised his hand at him. Yeah, of course not. You shouldn't hit people, but y'all are forgetting he was literally a kid whose entire world is volleyball, who spent his entire life being told he's not as good as Kageyama, who like has had to like double his efforts in an attempt to even catch Kageyama. And like this happened in like why doesn't he stop it? Something happened, okay? Y'all need to let it go. He was a kid, he made a mistake. I love you, King. Don't worry, I will always defend you. Anyway. And we also see this, like Bokuto is someone who's really, really good, but he gets like in his head a lot and then he starts messing up and he gets like super frustrated about it, but his teammates don't like they're just like, oh, Bokuto, and like just try to help him out of it. Like Agashi comes up with like ways, like okay, what else am I gonna tell him in order to get him back in the game? Like, instead of just like being mean about it, I don't know. I love Bokuto. Do not come at me. Like, that's my king. He's great. And I can't wait to see him animated in the time skip. He's such a star. I love him. I love Bokuto. Okay, moving on. Now, y'all, I know I said I was gonna try to keep it to one, but in that Isaki match, my beloved. First and foremost, I do gotta get it out of the way. I am at Atsumu stand. Okay, I've always been. I will always be. Okay, you can never tell me anything about my man. Like, that's my king. I love him. I love Osamu as well, but I'm an Atsumu girly. Okay, yeah. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, I think the Inarisaki match is one of the most like incredible feats. And I do gotta say that I read the manga and I've watched the show, and this match animated took it to the next level. Like, when I was reading it, it was tense. It's like, oh my god, back and forth. But when I was watching it, and I remember because season 4 came out, yeah, in October 2020 as well. It was airing, and you know how when it was divided in two parts. This match was crazy, y'all. Like, the music, the pauses, like the animation. I know there was some episodes where it wasn't that great, but for the most part, it was show stopping to me. Oh wow, like those last few, points specifically, y'all. Like, we don't need memories flashing in the background as the twins go to do their like quick like duo attack. Oh, and then the block Kagehina goes in for. Amazing. Like, that's cinema. Also, Hinata's perfect receive, that gets me every time. Like the way he zooms in on his eye, and then the ball lands perfectly in his arms, and the music cuts, and then he like bounces with the effect of the receiving Aran spike. Wow, literally wow. And I love Inarizaki as a team. Like, Kita is, every time he opens his mouth, I'm like, yes, exactly, you're so real. Like, Kita's whole like speech about repetition, and like you're built up on the small things you do every day, and you're like, the results are nothing but a byproduct of that. Life changing. Let me tell you, life-changing. Okay, it's amazing. It's great. There's nothing more to say. Like, I just think it's an amazing it's so tense, it's so good. Also, like, the whole like monster speech from Kita as well, and then Osamu's little like, when you're hungry, you take a bite of food and you get hungrier. Oh, because like, yeah, like, oh, it's so good. There's so many good lines from the Inarisaki match. Like, I also really like their philosophy. Like, we don't need memories. Because like, all they have is right now. Like, there's a part when Atsumu was talking about how like last year they were like either second or third place in nationals. He's like, but it doesn't really matter because that was last year. What we have now is like right now, and that's also been life changing. Like, we don't need memories, not in the sense that you should forget what you've done or where you come from and all you've achieved. We don't need memories in the sense that all you have is now. Like, it doesn't matter if you won last year. That was last year. All you have is right now. So you better go grab it. And it's amazing. I love Inarizaki. I love their dynamic. I love like how much of a great team they are. I love the twins. I love the dynamic. We get into that more. I say dynamic like 1,000 times, but like, I don't know how else to describe it. But synergy. Anyway, I love the little like side plot with the twins where we see them like grow up, and someone being like, someone, nobody likes you. Like, you need to be a little bit, like more likable. And someone's like, why? Like, this is who I am. Like, I just want to concentrate on volleyball. And then how they get into a fight because they're like, no, I like volleyball more than you, like, whatever. And Osamu tells him, like, listen, I think in level we're both matched, but when it comes to volleyball, you might love it just a little bit more than I do. And I also love that Osamu goes on to open his business. Like, I feel that's such an underrated part of Haikyuu as well. And this is a tangent that I really want to go on. Again, we'll get time skip, I guess. But I'll do it here because Osamu is the most, like, prominent example, as well as Nishinoya. I'll get into that. But Osamu is one of those players in the Haikyuu universe where people always thought he'd go pro. Like, he's been so good. He's playing with his twin. They're like undefeated. They've won. They've been so close to winning nationals. Like, yeah, and he could have, but he chooses not to, because that's the thing that like the point for that makes. Like, you can do anything, and sometimes your dream doesn't have to be what people think it was going to be, and that happens in inverse with Hinata. Hinata is a short player who didn't know even the basics. He never had a team to play in. Like, people didn't think he'd get that far, and he said, "Well, I don't care." Like, people are like, "Yeah, I mean, he's made it to nationals. He has this like really cool setter, but like, what is it?" And he said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm making it to the Olympics, and you're gonna watch." And I feel like I love that for that they for like foreshadowed that at the beginning when he talks to Takeda. I don't remember what, like, because also Takeda has some of my the best lines on the show, when he tells him like, "He who climbs the ladder must begin at the bottom," and then he also tells Hinata like, I feel like you won't be satisfied until you literally get a gold medal at the Olympics," something like that. He doesn't, or Hinata tells him that, and it's just amazing that he actually does make it to the Olympics. Spoiler alert, he does. But that's like the path of most resistance. Like, people were like, "Oh yeah, he likes to play volleyball. He wants to be the little jack." Like, whatever, like, that's cool. He can jump really high, whatever. But he said no. Like, watch me. And the opposite happens with Osamu. Like, he has this trajectory where people are like, "Yeah, for sure he's gonna go pro with sumo. Like, they're gonna be this like unstoppable duo." And he's like, "Well, no. I like onigiri. I like food. I like making people happy with food. I'm gonna open my own business." And he did. And like, that's not what people thought he would do, but that's what he wanted. And the same happens with Nishinoya, this amazing player. Like people know of him all across the nation. He's amazing show stopping. And he's like, but no, I like to travel the world. I'm not gonna go pro. Because I don't want to. Not because I don't like volleyball. I love volleyball. He carries his little volleyball everywhere he goes in his backpacking trips. But he chose to travel and like go around the world and be free. Because also for that makes a point of saying that being good means being free. And for Nishinoya, that means travel around the world. And that's good too, because that was his dream. And I just love that Furate made a point of that, because I feel like it's very easy. Like, we always see the other perspective, like Hinata's perspective. Like, oh, people didn't think he was going to make it, and he did. Like, I feel like that's the most commonly explored path for that kind of like storyline. But we rarely see the other, like the inverse. Like, oh yeah, this guy for sure is going to go pro. This guy's so good. Like, he's going to do that because that's like just who he is. But he doesn't want to. That's not his dream. And I feel like the same happens with what's his name? Hirugami? I think it's Hirugami. But his name. The guy who's friends with Hoshoimi. It's Hirugami, I believe. Like, his whole family, he comes from a long line of like volleyball players, like professional volleyball players, but he dreads it. He doesn't like love it. He plays, he's good. But, like, he confesses to Hoshimi, like, "I don't know. Like, I don't think it's that fun. Like, it stresses him out. He doesn't enjoy it." And Hoshimi's like, "Girl, then don't do it." What? Like, I think that's also, like, that's kind of like the pressure he had from his family. Like, hey, like, they're all volleyball players. I'm just the next in line. It's like, no, you don't have to be. Like, I don't know. That's just me. And then he's like, "You know what? That's right. I don't." And he's not. He becomes a veterinarian. And I think that's really nice for that to explore that. Anyway, that tangent. Nekoma versus, I don't remember their name. I don't remember much of it, to be fair. Again, Nekoma's not my favorite team. Controversial opinion. But I enjoy watching the matches. I just don't remember anything memorable from this one. Yeah. And now, the Battle of the Garbage Dump. First and foremost, don't even joke, okay? Like, this might be, narratively, one of the most, if not the most, important match, thematically, for Karasuno. Is it my favorite? No. It's not. But I gotta clarify that it's very important for the plot. This is the, like, rivalry coming to fruition. The Battle of the Garbage Dump, Cats versus Crows. It's a turning point in Karasuno's history because, I mean, we see two schools who have fallen from grace, each in their own respective category. Because even in the movie, they make a point of saying, like, when Hinata asks him, like, is your school good? And he's like, "Well, we used to be." And these are two schools who have come together to, like, kind of try to regain this former glory, like, going to each other's, like, camps and having friendlies and all that. But then they face each other at nationals, and it's prophetic. It is like a year-long rivalry coming to a head in the biggest stage they can be. And we have the coaches, long-standing rivals, watching their teams fight it out. It's just too delicious. The premise itself is delicious. And we see a clash of thesis because, again, land versus air. Karasuno will always soar while Nekoma will stay close to the ground and get those balls. And what Nekoma attempts is to cannibalize Karasuno. They are trying to eat them alive. They are trying to bring the crows down to the ground so they can eat them alive. And I mean, we see Kenma's absolute mastery of the game. He's such a mastermind. He's so smart, and you see him try. And because I mean, up to now, for us, I mean, unless you haven't seen it, but Kenma is this kind of player that enjoys volleyball, but like he's like, oh well, I mean, kind of Kudo got me into it. You know, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't move that much, whatever. This is where he starts, like, Hinata lights a spark under him. He's like, you better move, girl. We're moving. And he does. And, like, this is a long, I mean, the movie goes kind of fast, but when you read it, this is a long, drawn-out torture. Like, they're hitting, digging. Like, it's endless. And both teams are not giving up. Like, they're not giving inches. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It was amazing. Again, the way it's animated is gorgeous. It elevates it so much. Like the music, the score. That one time in the movie, spoiler for the movie if you haven't seen it, when we get to see it from Kenma's point of view, and like you hear him breathing really hard, and like you see him like, gear up, like the final point, gear up to like set it because Kenma's a setter. And he for a like brief moment flashes to like their training camp in summer and then goes back to the game. He touches the ball and it slips. Because of the sweat, it slips. And then the game is so amazing. Like, I can't. It's like, oh, Furata, you genius. I know you were in, I don't know if he had gotten him with him in the studio when he was right. I don't even know. It's amazing. I can't. 10 seconds of worship. Furata, you deserve everything. Anyway, Fukurdani versus Wukutan, was it? I don't know what the name of the team is, but I know exactly what game this is. Let's go. This is the Akashi Give Me Your 120% game. Oh! Oh, y'all. Ooh! And the We Are the Protagonists of This World game, which is a crazy thing to say in a volleyball match. Like, I didn't know it was that serious at the end of the day, but it is. Amazing. I love watching. I really enjoy watching Bokuto play. I can't wait to see it animated because the way they animate him, he's very bouncy, very like he's great. I love Bokuto, and I love Kurodani's kind of like team antics. They're funny. They're funny. I love them. And I feel like this game, I would have to reread this game to remember exactly because I haven't reread it in a while. But I know it has like some banger lines in there where I think it's after the game. Do they lose this game? I think they might. I think they lose this game. And when they do, they're in the changing room and Akashi's like having a breakdown about it. And Bokuto's like, hey, like, it's fine. Like, he says something very, very meaningful to Akashi. I'm trying to remember what he said. But it like makes Akashi cry harder. Like, Bokuto, the king that you are. Anyway, that's all you need to know. It's great. Now listen, this game is painful to watch because Hinata's team gets like destroyed, but the birth of Kagehina, like this is where fate really comes together, and as Furata himself said, sometimes people meet and the world is forever changed because of it. And here is the example. He meant them because this is the first time Kageyama and Hinata face off against each other as rivals. A position they will continue to hold for the rest of their lives to their enjoyment. When they're not teammates, of course. This is when Kageyama goes up to him, where have you been the last 3 years? What have you been doing? Because he sees Hinata jump, okay? Hinata, at this point, knows nothing about volleyball, right? I mean, he knows, but he doesn't have a team to play with, except for, like, 2 friends who agreed to come with him, and, like, 3 or 4 other people he recruited to just be able to sign up for the tournament. They get absolutely pummeled by Kageyama's team, of course. But Kageyama sees something in Hinata. He said, what have you been doing? Honest. And then after this game, Hinata goes up to Kageyama and he says, "Girl, I don't care where it takes me. Whether it's here or at the top of the world stage, I will defeat you. I will defeat you. I will." And Kageyama's like, "Good. Can't wait." And thus, the greatest story is born. Like, you walk with me, okay? They're rivals. Then they're forced to be teammates because they find each other in the Karasuno gym. They're like, "What are you doing here, King?" And Kageyama's like, "Girl, I applied for Shiratori Sawa, but they didn't let me in because I didn't have the grades. But you and I were put here for a reason, I feel like. Together." And Kageyama says, "You can fly even higher. Let's see how far you can go." And proceeds to mold Hinata into the greatest decoy, the greatest weapon. Okay? He makes him this thing to be feared. And Hinata jumps higher. They become the greatest duo, the monster duo, and people fear the mention of their name. It's show-stopping. Like, I'm sorry, who else could write this? No one. No one, y'all. Like, that's it. Like, amazing. Amazing. That's what I have to say. No notes. We will come back to this when we talk about one of the ones that's coming next. Well, first, just out of the way, I don't really care about this match. It's like, meh. It's great to see. Again, it's just to showcase all the types of volleyball for that they wanted to show. Yeah, like, they were having fun. They're free. They're bouncy. They're springy. Like, let's have fun. Same with them. No, hold on. Actually, I have to bump this up a little because I know this guy from this match. I don't remember his name because I don't. But this guy has a great moment after they lose where he's like reminiscing on it, and he's like, "It's crazy to think like we played against this team that is so good, that is so like monstrous." Because again, Kageyama and Hinata are like the monster duo. And like to think that they will go on, like some of these people will 100% go on to be like professional volleyball players and be in the Olympics and face greater heights, and to think that for a moment we were there. Like, think about this. This guy goes through his whole like mind. He's like, "Yeah, we lost, and maybe we could have done better, whatever. And like maybe this is the last volleyball game I ever play, or maybe I go on and keep playing in high school, but maybe I don't. Like, but either way, even if for a moment I was there, like I was there too. I was there playing against them too, and it's so show-stopping to me how." Oh, like that's peak fiction, y'all. You don't get it. Like, yes, I was there too. And it mattered to me. And I played and I enjoyed it. And I might not touch a ball again, but I was there. And for that moment, I was part of it. And I enjoyed it. And I grew and I learned. And I'll take it with me. And it's amazing. It's like, that's such a beautiful sentiment to think. Like, it applies to life in so many ways. Like, yeah, like, yeah, maybe you played volleyball in high school and then you never touched the ball again, but like it mattered then. It mattered then, and you were there. And you were there when somebody else's dreams were being born as well, because this guy says, for sure, these two guys will go on to have great careers. Like, they will probably go up against the best of the best someday. And I got to play against them. Did I lose? Yeah, but I got to play against them. I was there. And that's amazing. Like, I think that's such a beautiful sentiment to have. And it just makes you appreciate like the experience. I don't know, I don't like you. Anyway, yeah. This one, I'm trying to see what this is. I don't know if that's, they're playing orange, so I'm thinking it must be Kamomedai. I don't know. I don't know if this come with that. It must be though, because it's not included anywhere else, and it's one of the most important matches in the series. And they have time skip, so they must include Kamomedai. They're playing orange. I'm guessing it's Kamomedai. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. I have a bone to pick with Kamomedai because I physically can't reread it. It makes me ill. Like, don't ask me where I was when I read that. It made me ill. We all know what happens, and in case you haven't, spoilers. But this is where Karasuno loses at Nationals. This is where they lose Hinata as well because he gets sick in the middle of the game. He has a fever. He has to run to the hospital. But this is also where Furodate changed my life, y'all. Because this is where Furodate ends the first half of Haikyuu by saying, "Today, you were the defeated. Who will you become tomorrow?" Oh, gag. Okay, gag, y'all. Today, you were the defeated. who will you become tomorrow? And it closes on Hinata, like sick, not being able, like just watching the game. Karasuno loses. And the door closed. Like, oh, the visuals of this are amazing. Like, when this gets animated, you're losing me. Like, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to pull me out of the cinema in a stretcher. But they lose the game. And the walls to the gymnasium, like the big national gymnasium, close behind them. And Takeda again comes and like tells them like, I'm so proud of y'all, like this is great. And then he tells them, not a single thing has ended for any of you today. For the rest of your lives, you can do whatever you set your mind to. And I gagged. I cried. I teared up. Okay, a tear was like streaming down my, oh, like, yeah. Because it's such a, I mean, maybe simple sentiment, but it's not really. Like, obviously, this was a hard defeat for Karasuno because, I mean, they were like down 2 players because Suki also got hurt. And it was the last match the third years got to play. And this was the year where they finally picked up. You know, they spent the entire, like, Daichi had been there in the front lines from the beginning trying to make this team come back to former glory. And they finally done it and it was over. But not a single thing had ended. Like, not a single, for the rest of your life, you can do whatever you set your mind to. Like, that is my screensaver. To this day, that is my screensaver. Like, I have a little, like, it's a little sky, and then, like, in a clothing line, they have Hinata's jersey, number 10, and it says, you can do anything you set your mind to. Wow. Yeah. The match itself is brutal. Like, it's painful to watch. I'm like, girl, end it. Like, at this point, shut up. Hoshuimi, I used to have beef with Hoshuimi for no reason other than because I don't know. I had beef with him. But he's a great player. Again, I love his line of, like, we're not limited to only one way of being great. It's, yeah, that's true. And he's short and people underestimate him all the time, but he made a point of saying, like, you will not defeat me, girl. And, like, I also love the, like, whole theme of, like, like coming to terms in this match that he's not the little giant. And that's okay. Instead, he can be the greatest decoy, which is a title he earned all on his own instead of having to live in the shadow of somebody else. And also, I also love that the original little giant shows up to the game to cheer him on. Like, I feel like that's such a full circle moment for Hinata. It's great. I love it. So anyway, at the end of this chapter, Furate closes by saying, today you were the defeated. Who have you become tomorrow? Who will you become tomorrow? And then we have time skip. And y'all, okay. Because we have the whole Brazil arc. We have Hinata becoming, like, stepping into this greatest decoy Roy. He said, I will not be defeated. I go to Brazil. I train. I become the best version of myself until being okay becomes a habit. Okay? He goes through all these trials and tribulations of being lonely in his apartment, doesn't speak the language. And then they have this very, oh my gosh, this scene actually, like, it's, when this gets animated, of him driving his little bike in his little, like, Uber Eats job after he got his wallet stolen. He stops at a bar, he looks at the screen, and he sees it's Kageyama's turn to serve. And where's Kageyama? In the Olympics. Okay, in the Olympics. Okay. Ooh. Like, 19-year-old Kageyama in the Olympics, while Hinata is literally running around making meats and like practicing on the beach. And for the first time, Furate makes a point of making the cover of the manga have Kageyama running ahead of Hinata. That has never happened before. It's always Hinata running ahead of Kageyama until this moment. Like, this is the one moment where Hinata's really like, damn. Okay. Yeah, okay. Because Kageyama is off in the big leagues while Hinata's still trying to make it. And it's a hard like pill to swallow. He's like, damn, I just have to work harder then. And he does. He goes back to Japan. And he is part of the MSBY Black Jackals. I love the Jackals. I love the MSBY 4, Bokuto, Sakusa, Atsumu, and Hinata. I just feel like that's such a glorious combination of not only players, but people, like personalities. Oh, for that, they really cooked with that. And they have to face off against the Shooting Antlers, which has Kageyama, Hoshijima, Hoshuimi, and some really very renowned people. And everybody and their mothers was at that match. Like, people from, like, Yachi was here, Takeda was here to watch his students play, like you guys. Oh, it's great, it's great, it's great. Like, this is the culmination, okay, of what Furuta wanted. And we see a wonderful match by like these two realized players. And Hinata is so much more comfortable now in the greatest decoy facade he has. Atsumu, as always, like getting the balls up there. It's amazing. And the greatest part of this is that MSBY wins. And you see real time while you're reading it. Oh my god, like chills. How Kageyama realizes he was defeated by the weapon he created. But that's peak fiction, y'all. He created the greatest. He taught Hinata he could fly even higher. Like, he was there for him to show him that. And now he has been defeated by the weapon he created. Like, that's it. That's it. That's what I want. That's what I'm talking about. And here is where it gets turned around. It says, yesterday you were the defeated. Who have you become today? And who Hinata has become today is someone who can fight on his own. Someone who can accept the role he's been given without trying to be someone he's not, like Little Giant. Enjoy playing volleyball. Watching his wildest dreams come true. While also playing with the person who taught him the most. As a rival, as a friend. And for the rest of their lives, they're gonna spend trying to one-up each other as rivals. And that's it. That's it. For that, you're genius. Like, you could not, like, that's it. Yeah. I love Haikyuu. But, yeah. Okay, I don't remember much of this guy. I'm not gonna lie. Is this where Daichi loses a tooth? I don't remember. Oh, I love them. Latico is just a really great, fun team. I love them. They're so cute. Yeah. I enjoy watching Latico. Oh, now this. Yeah. Hold on. Something's happening. There we go. Seijo's victory against Kasuno. First of all, again, as I said, I'm a Seijo girly. I love watching them play. I think their strategy is great. I love Oikawa peacocking. Like, I'm sorry, like, I will always be an Oikawa defender. It's great. And watching them defeat them, it was heartbreaking because you always want Kasuno to win. But not today, sweetie. That's it. That's all I gotta say. That's all. And also, I love, I don't know if it's in this match or the other, but it applies to Seijo either way. When Iwaizumi tells Oikawa that one cannot hope to defeat the enemy that lies ahead if they cannot see the one that they have in front right now. I think that has really stuck with me a lot. But yeah, Iwaizumi, love you. Love you, King. Meh. Now, this is really fun. This is a fun match, but I don't remember much of it. Meh. Now this, okay, breaking the Great Wall of Datako should, like, yeah, Iwaizumi the man that you are. Iwaizumi the man that you are. See, it would have been more exciting if time skip was last. I don't know why it was out of order. But yeah, that's my ranking of the matches. As you can see, I have very clear preferences. And it's great. I Haikyuu, it's a piece of media that I don't think I will ever be able to let go of. It's just amazing how intricate, how careful, how beautifully constructed it is. Furuta really struck gold when he decided to do this. And you can tell that it comes from a place of absolute passion. It really makes you want to get moving. Like, one of my favorite things that Haikyuu has, like, engraved in me is this one quote where Hinata, like, is saying, like, this is painful, I want it to stop. And that, when I think that way, that's when I take another step forward. It's like that, wow. Like, how do you just say that? Oh, for that you will always be famous. So anyway, to end the video, I would like to share some of my top 10 favorite Haikyuu quotes that I refer to, like, religiously in my head sometimes, like when I'm in trouble or when I want to, like, uplift myself and whatever. And I mean this, like, 100% serious. Again, I'm not being sarcastic. When I'm like, oh, damn, like, I really need some motivation or something, I rewatch Haikyuu. And I'm not joking. Like, clips or, like, even the theme songs, it's amazing. It works like magic. So do yourself a favor and watch Haikyuu. Anyway, here are my quotes, some of my quotes, favorite quotes, in no particular order. Number 1, today you are the defeated, who will you become tomorrow? Of course, as I said, I love that quote. And then the turnaround into yesterday you were the defeated, who have you become today? That's narrative beauty, exactly. Then the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Number 3, he who climbs the ladder must start at the bottom. Number 4, he who cannot see the opponent that lies in front of him cannot possibly hope to defeat the one that lies ahead. Number 5, there are some flowers you only get to see when you take detours. Number 6, does losing prove that you are weak? Isn't losing difficult for all of you? A challenge where after ending up on your knees and hands, you must see if you can stand up again. If you stay on your hands and knees, that proves you are weak. 7, today might be the chance to grasp the chance to let your talent bloom. Maybe tomorrow, the day after, or next year. Maybe even when you're 30. I'm not sure if physique has anything to do with it, but if you think that it will never come, it probably never will. 8, we'll never win if we don't believe we can. 9, little by little, what you have begun will naturally become important to you. What you need to start is a little bit of curiosity. And 10, so Mr. Average Me, do you really have time to look down like that? And that's from, I want to expand that a little bit. That's from Tanaka. I love Tanaka, underrated king. And that's from the Inarizaki match. I love that also for that they really made a point of like talking about like, yeah, these monsters and these geniuses, but also all these people that surrounded them. Like Tanaka was such an important part of Karasuno, just morally, and to see him defeated at some point as well, but have him like realize like, hey, do I really have time to look down? Like when I'm going up the stairs, do I really have time to stop going up? Even if I slow down the pace, like I have to keep going up. And it's just really special. Those were some. There's so many. I could spend all day like just quoting Haikyuu at you, and you would be like, damn, like, was that not in the Bible? And I'd be like, yeah, no, exactly. But it's amazing. Again, if you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor. It's amazing. Amazing. It really has made me a better person, I feel like. Like, unironically. And it's, I don't know, I can't recommend it enough. It's so good. Oh, there's another quote that I really wanted to share because I love this one. This one is like, oh, it's so good. It's when Hinata's training in Brazil. He's training with his like this random guy, and he's like, this guy like gets really nervous when it comes to like, you know, the final points, and the guy's like, when it comes down to the clutch, I always mess up, and Hinata responds with, no, when it comes down to the clutch, you always have the courage to do your best. So with that, with what Furata has given me and taught me, I want to keep doing my best, and I hope you can too. It's not always easy, but when you watch things like Haikyuu and you really take it to heart and you take what you can find of yourself in the story, because Furate has so many characters that you can really find something for you in each of them, then you see that, yeah, sometimes it's painful. Sometimes you do want to stop. But when you think that way, that's when you take the next step forward. Because that's when you're going to find the next thing.